Hi everyone, I'm Stacey. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a tag from Ali at A Genteel Black Hole. He has designed this tag to celebrate his birthday. So huge happy birthday, Ali. I hope you had a great day. And the tag is called the Banned Books tag. And Ali has chosen a selection of some of his favourite artists and created prompts to go with them. So I'm going to have a crack at them and see how we get on. Okay, so the first artist that Ali has chosen is the Cardiacs. And for that, the prompt he's chosen is a book that's close to your heart. So I have gone, it's very shiny, try and get it so that you can see it. This is a signed first edition of Arcadia by Tom Stoppard. This is my favourite play. This play means a huge amount to me. Stoppard is my favourite playwright. Possibly with the exception of Shakespeare, but I don't think Shakespeare kind of fits into, you tend to rank him alongside other playwrights. I know that sounds daft, but he's kind of on his own. And then there's everybody else. And of everybody else, Tom Stoppard is my favourite. I was a little bit bereft at his loss. And this is the first signed first edition that I ever acquired. This is the first one that I ever owned. And although it does have, I'm not going to lie, it does have this slightly fugly American issue cover. I just love it. It's like prized possession territory. Let's see if I can, got other stuff inside it to sort of keep it as it should be. There he is. Not personalised, I didn't get it signed by him. It was out in the world. This is from back in the day before Waterstones and Toppings and places like that worked out that signed editions could be like sort of sold and manufactured generally. But yeah, so I acquired this. I've had this for more than 20 years now. And I love it. It is very close to my heart. Okay, the second prompt is XTC. I love XTC. And the prompt for this was a book that brings you joy or a book that's set where you live. So I decided to go with a book that's set near where I live, where I used to live. Because I live in a tiny village in Wiltshire and I'm not aware of any books that are set here. So I've gone with Bath, which is where I lived before I moved here. And it's my happy place. It's not far from here. I go as often as I can, which isn't very often at all, really. Yeah, so I've gone with Bath and I've chosen The Last Detective by Peter Lovesey. And this follows, it's kind of a really slightly cozy, slightly hard-boiled. It's a weird mix. It's kind of a traditional detective story in the long tradition of detective stories. It's exactly the way you think sort of gumshoe policing should be. And it's cool. It was made into a really sweet TV adaptation with Peter Davison and the late, great Sean Hughes. But yeah, so set in Bath, and that's the one I'm going to go with. Prompt number 3 is Thelonious Monk. And the prompt is a character with a brilliant name or a distinctive hat. So I've gone with somebody who has a brilliant name and a distinctive hat, and I'm going to go with Hercule Poirot. I love Poirot. I love Agatha Christie, but I particularly have a soft spot for Poirot. ABC Murders is my favourite, if anyone's interested. Hercule Poirot is a fantastic name. It's a fantastic character name generally. It's incredibly distinctive and memorable. I have no doubt that alongside the fantastic writing and the brilliant mysteries, the fact that he's called Hercule Poirot has contributed to him being such a memorable character and kind of somebody that sticks in the mind. Even if you haven't read the books, people know Hercule Poirot. It's a great name. And a Homburg is not an easy hat to pull off, so he gets points on both of those, I think. Okay, prompt number 4 is Robert Wyatt. And Ali has asked us to come up with a character who experiences a sea change or hits rock bottom. And I have gone, having thought about this for a while, I've gone with Death from the Discworld books. Because Death for such a strong character with such a kind of strong sense of purpose of what his role is in the scheme of things, Death undergoes a real journey across I've got Reaper Man here, but you see this journey in Mort, and you see the difference if you read through the books, sort of the way Death is when he shows up in the very early Discworld books through to later on when you've got soul music and pyramids, and some of the others where he shows up, Death's character undergoes a real evolution in terms of his desire to understand humanity and identify with the people that he's collecting, ushering, guiding, finishing. It's a real journey. And I think in terms of a sea change, I'm not entirely sure that there's any other characters in the Discworld that go through as much of a transformation in terms of who they are as Death. I love any scene where he meets Granny Weatherwax, because she has a sense of understanding about herself that I'm not 100% sure Death doesn't really quite admire and maybe envy a little bit. So that's what I'm going to go with, Death in the Discworld. Prompt number 5 is Ivor Cutler. And Ali's asked for a favourite poetry book or poem. This is the one that I read most recently. I read a fair amount of poetry, and I cycle through, depending on what mood I'm in and what place I'm in, mentally, emotionally, what have you. My favourite's Chop and Change. So I'm going to go with the most recent one, which is K. Tempest's Divisible by Itself and One. I really love K. Tempest's poetry. They've been a really interesting voice in spoken word poetry for a very, very long time. Back in the day, back in a past life, I had a very short stint as a poet, and I was part of a lovely writing collective that worked with K. Tempest on a couple of occasions. I didn't cross paths with them, but they were engaged with other people that I was working with as well. So I've been able to watch their career kind of develop from really early doors. And it's been really fun, because it's not like a lot of poets make it to something impressive. I'm watching K. Tempest go through their development as a poet, as a writer, but also as an individual, as a person, working out who they are and how they fit in the world and how they wear their skin comfortably, has been really amazing to see. And this is a great collection. I'm going to decline to read a poem on this occasion. I'll tell you about it sometime. Things are a bit weird at the moment, and I'm not 100% sure that I'm in the right place to do it. That sounds really overdramatic. It's not exciting. I'm just not in a place to read a poem without getting in a bit of a state about it. So K. Tempest, if you're not familiar with them, I thoroughly recommend you check them out. Prompt number 6 is The Bad Plus. And for this one, Ali's asked us to think of a retelling or a book with a number or a numerical symbol or something in the title. I've gone with a retelling, and I'm choosing Asterix and the Great Divide, which is essentially it's Romeo and Juliet, but with Vikings and with a, spoiler alert, slightly tweaked ending that makes it child-friendly and no teen suicide. It's great. Who doesn't love Asterix? That's the one I'm going with. Prompt number 7 is Shudder to Think. And for this one, we've been asked to think of a book that scared you or was thought-provoking. So for this one, I'm going to go with Notes on an Execution by, I hope I don't pronounce this wrong, Dania Kukafka. This both scared me and was really thought-provoking. This is a story of the lead-up to a convicted murderer's execution. He's on death row, and the story follows different perspectives at different times between him, the sister of one of his victims, and the police officer who was responsible for catching and arresting him. And it tracks all the way back. There are some other perspectives that you see. His mother is also one of the characters that we follow, and it's a bit of a cold read. I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say that I enjoyed it, but it sat with me for a long time. I read it like a couple of years ago now, and it still sits with me. In terms of making you think about nature versus nurture, and how our environment sometimes can set us up to fail. I mean, not excusing murder, obviously. But yeah, how sometimes where we come from shapes us beyond what we can possibly predict the outcome of that will be. So yeah, that one. Okay, prompt number 8 is Björk. And the prompt for this one was a Nordic author or an icy setting. So I've gone with Icelandia or Islandia by Mark Verdeen. This is a graphic novel. It's part of a series. There's 3 of them. They're not all... This one is the first in the series. And they all kind of do, I suppose, mythological retellings or fables. It's quite sort of dark and atmospheric. And it's set in Iceland, which seemed like it fit with this prompt. Okay, prompt number 9. There was a list of artists for this one, so I'm going to just double check I get them all. The Kinks, Gentle Giant, Devo, and Field Music. And the prompt is a book about siblings or written by siblings. I had 2 that popped in my head for this, but I'm going to use the other one in a minute. So I'm cheating slightly. So I went with this one for this one. I've gone with Witches Abroad by Terry Pratchett, which in fairness, I'll squeeze in anyway. I can make that work for almost any prompt you like. Spoiler alert, but in this one, the antagonist in this is Granny Weatherwax's sister, and how the 2 of them have diverged since they were siblings living at home together, and the different responses that they had to their upbringing and to the world as they saw it, and to the magic that they had, has led them to very different places and very different attitudes. And it's interesting watching that dynamic unfold, because Granny Weatherwax's sister is able to confront her and make her uncomfortable and make her doubt herself and think again about what she thought she knew absolutely, in a way that I think only siblings can really kind of poke at you and, you know. But yeah, so it's a really nice twist to that story and kind of works really well in that narrative. The Witches Abroad. Prompt number 10 is the Beatles. Yay! Everybody knows that I have a weak spot for the Beatles. The prompt for this is a book that a parent or relative introduced you to, or a book you've loved for a long time. And I've got the same book answers both of those things. So a long time ago, my dad gave me this incredibly aged copy of Grimm's Fairy Tales, and I love it, and I have loved it ever since I got it. This thing it was old when we got it. I don't know where my dad got it from. It's just always been in my house. So I have no story to go with this in terms of when it was acquired. It's just always existed. It does have a stamp in the front that says Victorian Postal Libraries, 1943. My dad used to work for Australia Post way back in the day, so I'm assuming he swiped this from somewhere. And all power to him, because it was a good choice. I have read it many times. If anybody's interested, my favourite is Rumpelstiltskin. I have a real weakness for the story Rumpelstiltskin. I don't know what that says about me. But yeah, I love this. It is battered and I'm very careful with it now. But it does have illustrations in there. So a book that my dad gave me and I've loved it for a really long time. Grimm's Fairy Tales, which, like I say, could have fit for sibling writers. But there we go. I've used it for this one instead. And last up, prompt 11 is Spinal Tap. And Ali has asked us to recommend a song, an album, or an artist. This chops and changes for me. I couldn't pick a favourite song to save my life. And my favourite album cycles month to month. So what I am going to do is I thought I would take inspiration from what's been on the turntable this week, and I would recommend an artist, which is Robert Palmer. This is a hill I will die on. Robert Palmer is ridiculously underrated. He was underrated when he was alive and recording and releasing, and he has remained underrated since he passed away. This is Heavy Nova. I would recommend this album, actually. It's got Simply Irresistible on it. It's got She Makes My Day. If you're into the singles, those are the ones that you probably know of these songs, but there's also some other great tracks on this album. But any of them are really good. Riptide is one of my favourite albums. Clues is also a great album. Robert Palmer, I guarantee you, if you have Spotify, YouTube Music, whatever your streaming service of choice, this evening when you're cooking your dinner, put some Robert Palmer on. I guarantee you will enjoy it. it will be better than you remember it being. He's not just the Robert Palmer girls. Everyone thinks Robert Palmer and they remember the video. Don't get me wrong, totally iconic. But there is also an entire back catalogue of really great music that he has that I don't think gets anywhere near the kind of love that it deserves. So, yeah, Robert Palmer, you're welcome. Anyway, an enormous happy birthday, Sir Ali. I hope you've had a fantastic day on your birthday, but I also hope you've had a great time watching these tags coming through and people making their suggestions. Thank you very much for tagging me. I'll see everybody again next time. Bye.